All right. This is a very important aspect. So it's self-referencing. And for self-referencing, we have the absolute referencing, the relative referencing, the mixed, which are the three types of self-referencing. And I will also be explaining some other things by the way. Meanwhile, this is a very important part of Excel you need to understand. And please, I beg you, ensure you understand. It's very important. Now let's go to the next slide. Now, what's the content we'll be exploring today? What is cell referencing? My previous video I said, why am I using dollar? And I said, in this video, I'll be talking about it. So if you have not watched the previous video on conditional formatting, go get it. Go get it. If you are stumbling on this one for the first time, you are also on the right path. Conditional formatting is a part of Excel everyone needs to have a good knowledge on. So basically, right? So the first thing, what is cell referencing? Number two, relative references. Three, absolute references. Four, mixed references. Five, name ranges as references. Number six, external slash 3D references. Seven, practical examples. That's the VLOOKUP and some. We also have the common errors and how to fix them. So, what is cell referencing? A cell reference identifies a cell or range of cells in a spreadsheet. It tells a formula where to look for data, enabling dynamic, reusable calculations across your workbook. Don't forget, I told you that for Excel, columns are letters, while rows are numbers. And that's why a cell address in Excel, it's column and row. It's column and row. So Excel will say A1, that's A, column A, row 1. B1, column B, row 1. So now, for example, this cell address here, B3, is column B, row 3, right? So, and why do we use the dollar sign? We still need to explore that, right? The dollar sign is for locking. We are trying to tell Excel that we are locking. Is either we want to lock the row or we want to lock the column. Are we together now? Is either we want to lock the row or we want to lock the column. Now, let us start with from relative references. Relative references is the default reference in Excel. The relative reference is the default reference in Excel. A relative reference adjusts automatically when a formula is copied to another cell. The relative reference is relative to the cell containing the formula. So that means if we have a cell like this multiplied by, let's say this bit is multiplied by 0.1, we drag down, we have the same multiplication by 0.1, right? So this is the normal Excel reference. It comes with it. It's called relative referencing. Now, you know, let us just go to absolute. Absolute reference always point to the same cell. What we are trying to say is that, that this is B3. We want to say that this B3 should be multiplied times this. If we say B3 should multiply times this, once we drag down, this one, this B3 will change to B4. Then B1 would have changed to B2, then highlighting the price. But we want the fact that B3 should be changing, but this price, everything should still be calculating this static price. Then we have to use the absolute reference. The absolute reference is that we're using the dollar sign. That means we are locking column B, then we are locking row 1. So we are locking all these whole cells, like this cell. B1, because this cell is B1. B1, we are locking the whole cell. If we locked only B, that means we are locking only column B, right? We are locking only column B, then the row can be adjusting. If we lock only row 1, then that's we are putting dollar only here. That means it will affect only. So, but that one is mixed referencing. For absolute referencing, we are ensuring that everything multiplied will just be multiplied times this one only. Let us walk through a practical example. Now, I have my cell in Excel here. I have A1, right, which is my product, price, quantity, total sales. So let us say our total sales is price times quantity. If our total sale is price multiplied by quantity, we're going to have 2 4, right? So I don't forget what I taught you. If you hold this and drag down, what will happen? It will do B3 times C3. B3, this one will do what? B4 times C4. That means this is changing. Why? When we drag the formula down, that means B4 is changing, change to B5 here, whereas this quantity 2 is also changing. Now, what we just did now is called relative referencing. Don't forget, what we just do is called relative referencing. And relative referencing is the default referencing of Excel, whereby everything changes, right? Now you can see the price changes, the quantity changes. While we drag down the formula down, everything is practically changing, right? But when I'm talking about the absolute referencing, so if you want to, let us say the formula for our commission, it's total sales multiplied by commission, which is 5%. Let us say our commission here is our total sales multiplied by commission rate. Now we want all these total sales to be adjusting, but multiplying only commission rate. Now let me give an example. If you do not use the absolute referencing, that's making this one constant. That's what absolute referencing does. I was clear now. If we drag this one towards down, you can see it give us 0. Why is it giving us 0? It's giving us 0 because this D3 now is multiplying B8. This one is multiplying what? This D4 is multiplying what? B9, which there's nothing there. Do you get the idea? That's 0 multiplied by is giving us 0. But we want it to multiply only commission rate. We want this total sale to multiply commission rate. But meanwhile, when we drag down, it will still be referencing these orders, right? So what can we do? We will use what? The absolute referencing. And when we're using the absolute referencing, all we need to do is to use the dollar sign. That's we're going to click on B7, then lock the row and what? Lock. So lock the column and lock the row. Now so the column comes before row, columns are letters, rows are numbers. Are we together now? So D2 times B7. So when we lock it like this, press equals to, you can see we have. So when we drag down, what happens? Everything is still what? Multiplying by this constant percentage. This is B7. So what we just did here for commission, it's absolute referencing. But this relative referencing is the referencing that actually comes with Excel. It's a default referencing in Excel. Are we together now? So let us go to mixed referencing. For mixed referencing, we're going to be working with a multiplication table. For mixed referencing, we want to just explore absolute and relative, basically. So we want to just explore what. Let us just mix it together. Let us see what a mixed reference look like. So let me go back to what I'm presenting here. So I hope you all understand what absolute referencing and relative does, right? So that is best for fixed rate, share multipliers, sequential data, this one. So that's why I just explained. So mixed references. Mixed references. Now, for example, let's say we want to lock a column only, or we want to lock a row only. That's mixed referencing already. right? We want to lock a column, leave the row. We want to lock a row and leave the column. That is mixed referencing. Now, let us try this example. You know, filling up our multiplication table using mixed referencing. You can see what was done here now. We are locking column A. We are locking, can you see here? The formula is here. We are locking column A. Why? We are leaving row 2 multiplied by B1. That means for this one too, we are also locking row 1 and we are leaving column B alone. I will explain. So let us go practically. Let us go practically. Multiplication table. I know it's not like we use the mixed referencing for multiplication table only. This is just a simple idea that will make you understand, because all these things you are still going to use them practically in a case study. In a case study, you are still going to use them practically in a case study as an assignment. So ensure that you, so there's nothing here basically. That's what I was trying to say. Just ensure that you are just following. So I have to just increase the cell width so you can see it very clearly like this one. So what we did here, normally what we want to multiply, multiplication is 1 times 1, 1. So like what we have here now, you can see normal multiplication table. 1 times 1, 1. 1 times 2, 2. Right? 1 times 3, 3. 1 times 4, 4. 1 times 5, 5. 2 times 1, 2. 2 times 2. So we are all used to that. That's just big. But now, how do we allow our Excel formula to do that? Now, normally, what we wanted to do is to just do this multiply by this. But with this now, if you continue dragging, if we drag to the right, if we drag down, you will see that it will scatter, right? But what we want to do is that for this B1, right, we want to ensure for this A2, for example, now, you can see this is A, this is 2. Which one do we want to lock? Which one do we want to release? Are we together now? Which one do we want to lock? Which one do we want to release? So that's what we are discussing here. So this now, you can see that we are locking column A. We are locking column A. That means column A will always be locked. Why? Row 2 will be just multiplied. So it's just like, so why row 1? So that means we are going 1 times 1. So column A is locked. So we are in A2. So A2. So these two row will still be able to move when we drag down, or for this, if we drag towards the right, these two will still be able to move, but this A is locked, right? Why this B, this reason why we lock this row but we left B is that for this B here now, let me just show you. So you can see that A2, how to say now? A2. So what happened here now? A2 is talking about the fact that A2, that means we now locked column A but release row 2. Locked column A, release row 2. This one, we locked column B. Sorry, we locked row 1, we leave column B. So in that way, 1 we multiply 1. 1 here. You can see that this one is locked. This one is locked. It will multiply 2. Because why? Don't forget, we released what? The what? You can see. We locked row 1 too, right? But we released the column. So when we drag, it's something like this. That means this one now will be what? Can you see? A2, A2C1, A2, that's, can you see this one too? Column A is what? Is locked there, right? Y row 2. So if you highlight this one and drag down, it will make more sense. So what the formula will paste like that for the multiplication table. So you can see this one too. A3. Don't forget, column A is locked. This third row, that's this 2, is not locked. So we are doing 2 times this this B, column B is locked, but this one, so this column B is not locked, I mean, but this one is locked. That's why I started to this. So then we move, it will be static to this and this. So with that, you can see what we have. We have a multiplication to 5 times 1, 5, 5 times 2, 10. So this is mixed referencing. This is mixed referencing. And we use that to run our multiplication table. So I want you to try it, sink it in, ensure you understand. See, one thing about working with Excel is that if you skip the process, you'll be stuck at the long run. Yeah, you need to understand. Be sure you understand. For example, this, go back to it, practice over and over again. I want it must sink to you. What absolute referencing? What relative referencing? What's mixed referencing? So now let us run through the slides in continuation. Don't forget what I said here. For example, I said that column A locks the column. That means always read from column A. B1 locks the row. That means A1 locks the column. That means we just be everything we just be dealing with will be from this column. That's what they mean something is locked. We locked this column. That means it will be reading from this column. Are we together now? It's reading for this from this column. B1 locks the row. That means it's reading from this row. So hope we get that now. What is named range? Named range is very simple. Named range is very simple. Named range just means that if you have a formula, right, in Excel, you can just, this is what I'm just trying to say to make sense now. So there's something I should have. It should be here, but my recording button, I can't move it down. But don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I will show you what I mean now. So let's say there's a total commission here, for example. And I actually use some, can you see total commission is 390, for example, right? So you can see that this 390 is just referencing E8 here. You can see in the name box, it's just referencing E8, right? So we can actually just click on this and do named ranges. So name a range. So this can name this range and call it total. So in the whole workbook here. So you can see now when I click on this, you can see it's now showing total commission. That means instead of using this E8 here now, if I come here and I just do equals to total commission, you can see I've made the name range already. Then I can have it. So name ranges just means that we can name something instead of it being that name of that cell, we can name it another name. Are we together now? And if you reference that name anywhere in the workbook, it will produce the result. So if I actually say total commission times 30, it will produce the result. Why? Because it has the name already. Can you see? So let's try one more example so you understand what I'm saying. If there's something like total sales here and I have my sum, so 7 with here. So if I go to my search bar and type in named range, so just type it name. So define a name a range. So this can see this is the range here, D8. You can see it here. And don't forget I've named the sheet already. And I think I told you how to name sheet in the first video I made, the introduction to Microsoft Office. So now let us name this total sales. Let's name this total sales. So you can see. So let's say for example now, if I go anywhere, even though it's here go, if I write cost to and I'm just trying to type total, you can see total sales. You can see what I'm saying now. So we use these name ranges most times if we are working with dashboards and stuff like that, or you are working um on a financial statement or something, and just so when you have your total sales, gross profit, you just save it as a name range. So at any point in time, you can actually just reference it easily instead of going back to be looking for instead of like instead of like going back now, for example, and I'm not trying to reference um this, for example, I'm trying to reference this example now. Shey you get, I will just use my name range. Since I have saved the name range already, I will just write equals to total sales. You can see here, double click, I have it already. So that's the importance of naming your ranges. Are we together now? It's why things that are important, you name them so that it will be easy when you are trying to work. Are we together now? So don't worry, by the next assignment, what I'll just be doing is to ensure that everything we talked about, the name ranges and stuff, conditional formatting and all that, will be put together. Yeah. Tomorrow class is very tomorrow video I'll be sending for tomorrow class is a very powerful one. That's pivot tables. And that one we're just getting there. We're getting there powerfully. Pivot tables. And it's gonna be mind blowing. Ensure you just flow with that. Don't watch a video once. Don't watch a video once. A video should be watched over and over again. A video should be watched over and over again. What he's trying to talk about is that 3D referencing is referencing a cell in another sheet, right? Referencing a cell in another sheet. It's just very simple. It's just like you referencing, if you are referencing something here now, you can see. You can see it's mentioning rel abd and s in d3. You can see name of the cell. It's referencing another. How to analyze? It's referencing another. So that means you can actually reference a sheet from another sheet, and that's what I expect you. The last assignment I gave you, that's what I expect you to do to get the formulas, right? To get the formulas. And for those stumbling on this video, you can reach out to me for private classes on Microsoft Office. Yeah, private class on Microsoft Office. For many years, it's going to be a virtual class, right? Yeah, you can reach out to me for that. So, let's continue. So, external references means you are what? You are referencing a cell from a different workbook. From a different workbook. That means, for example, this Excel file now. I want to reference something from another Excel file entirely. So, for example, this is an Excel file. Call it X001, right? So it's possible for me to reference X001. It's going to work. So, but I'll still discuss more on this. There's a way you can work with text. I will do a special video on external references. I will do a special video for that. Yeah. But meanwhile, Excel works in it does not work in real time, right? So external references is never advisable using Excel. It's more advisable on Google Sheet, right? In fact, Google Sheet does not need the external reference. Why? Because four, five, two, three people can operate on the same Google Sheet at once. I want to get that now. But Excel does not work in real time. Then what I'm doing in my place, you cannot be seeing it in your place. So that actually gives a very big limitation for external references. Meanwhile, in one of my videos, probably my next video, I'll also be walking you guys through Google Sheet. Yeah, that's after my video on pivot tables. Walking through Google Sheet just briefly and let's see what we can. Because I want to just show you guys the difference between Google Sheet and Excel. The difference between Google Sheet and Excel. I can navigate and just go around it. Google Sheet is very specialized too for data modeling, creating of trackers, creating of stuffs like that. And but don't worry, as time goes on, you just ensure that just keep learning, watch watch these videos over and over again. Yeah. So practical examples of VLOOKUP and absolute referencing is that is it is not a complete table. Let us walk through this first. All right. So this is month sales, right? So okay, we've talked about this already. Yeah. Common errors and how to fix them. There are errors in Excel. There are errors in Excel. If Excel showed ref, that means the reference is invalid. The reference is invalid. And it's very simple. So, for example, if let's say I reference something here before, let's say I reference total sales, right? For reference that you can see the total sales reference from this tab, right? Let's say I now delete this tab. What do you think will happen? You show ref. Can you see? It's showing ref. Why is it showing ref? And that's ref is an error. Ref is showed when the reference is invalid. What we reference is either it is no more there again or we have moved it away from there. I was getting or we have moved it away from there. Especially when you are using an absolute referencing or something and we have removed that thing away from there. I was getting to show ref and ref means reference is invalid. Now, next one is value. Value. Formula expect a number but find a text. Formula expect a number and find a text. For example, if no, for example, sum sum is for numbers. So I using sum to now add letters. The let us say there is letter here. What do you think will happen? If If I use sum to add letter, what do you think will happen? It's going to give us 0, right? But I'm trying to find an example that will give us value coming. But basically, yeah, if Excel shows you value, it's just that number formula expect a number, but find the text. Yeah, but find the text. I would have explored higher formulas that would have given, but I don't. I just want us to move with what we have already. But once Excel shows you value, yeah. So wrong result copy, circular reference. Circular reference. Circular reference refers the formula back to its own self. And for example, if I'm referencing my own cell and I'm saying O2 times 2, you can see it's circular reference. Why? Because you can't reference that same cell your own. Because they are one of circular referencing either directly, blah 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 blah. Can you see what I'm saying now? You can't reference that same cell. I am on O2, then I want to be referencing O2 again. It's circular referencing. But I can reference any other thing apart from O2. I can reference P2, right? P2 times 2. P2 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0. You get the idea now. So if I ask me, I put 6 here now, it will change, right? You get the idea now. So this is a very interesting episode. Now, quick reference summary. I told you about relative referencing. It locks nothing. Absolute locks rows and column. Mixed locks column. Mixed column locked. It locks column only. Mixed row locked. It locks row only. Name range is we naming our cell to a readable what? Do you get what I'm saying now? 3D referencing, that's you referencing from another sheet. If you're referencing from another sheet, it's called what? 3D referencing. If you're referencing from another Excel file, it is called external referencing. So thank you. Subscribe to this video and watch. Thank you.